The reason why we want status, we want to be a part of the community, because if we don't have a certain status, we may be shunned from the community and we'll be left to die. All right. So you have to get over all of those fears. Okay. And I think the best way to do that is through spirituality, is to understand where we came from and where we're going. Okay. And I know everybody has different beliefs about that, and that's great. And I think all of those beliefs, I'm talking about religious beliefs about heaven or paradise or purgatory or whatever those things are, whatever you think or believe. But we're all thinking about, where did we come from? And we know that this is just a transitory state. And then where do we go from here? And that's what we want to discuss. I'm not going to try and prove anything to you, but I'm just gonna I want to talk about how science is dealing with that. And modern science is starting to figure this out. And it's primarily figuring it out by understanding that we're all energy. Everything in the universe came from this energetic field, and when it decomposes, it goes back into that energetic field. Okay. It's a it's not a difficult concept, it's just a different concept. Okay, but that's what science is saying. All right. Now, you can choose not to believe science. That's your choice. That's free will. You can choose not to believe it. But just because you don't believe it or you're not aware of it does not mean it does not exist or that it is not true. I learned that with saliva tests. I had patients that they don't believe in saliva testing. Not patients, but doctors. Well, you can believe in what you want to. You can believe that blood tests tell you something. That's fine. You can believe it. It still does not make it true. And just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean it does not exist. All right. So we're going to talk about these deeper things. Then the other thing I want to really impress upon you is how much your mind controls your body, and how your mind controls your external environment. There's something called the mirror principle. The mirror principle says that your reality is just a reflection of your inner state. Okay. So if your inner person or if your inner state is chaotic, you're going to have a chaotic reality. Okay. But once you settle in on your inner peace, that's why peace is so important, then your reality can become peaceful, and it can become something that you want, and not something that is s- not something that you don't want. Okay. Because even though your inner being or you may be stressed, you're not intentionally trying to create a stressful environment. But even though you're not intentionally doing it, it's happening anyway. Just just think about it. When you are in a unsettled state, everything around you seems to be unsettled. You're like, why is all this stuff happening to me? I can't believe this happened, that happened, this happened. Because that's what you're thinking about. You've created it inwardly, and your external world will reflect that back to you. Okay. It's like you can't look at the mirror and expect it to smile when you have a frown on your face. Okay. So you have to be what you want your external environment to be. All right. So if you want to have a peaceful, stable external environment, you've got to have a peaceful, stable internal environment. And what disrupts that? When you're out of balance and you're out of harmony. Your body works in harmony. Every cell in your body is working in harmony with another cell. Your liver cells have to work in harmony with your intestinal cells, and that has to work in harmony with your cardiovascular system. That has to work in harmony with your mental system. Everything is about balance and harmony. And if you are inwardly out of balance and out of harmony, your external world is going to continue to be out of balance. So that's why we are going to work on this inner state. We're going to work on the spirit the mind, and then see how that affects the body instead of me trying to teach you what to do with your body. All right. So that is, I hope I'm getting across how this is going to be a little bit different, because once you see yourself as different and you open your mind and allow yourself to have different thoughts, to receive different information, because if you're closed minded, nothing's going to change. I hope you're happy with your life, because the only way you're going to see a different future is you have to open up your mind and allow information to come in. You have to be receptive of that information, be able to apply that information. And that's what I want to help you to do is I'm going to give you information, and I want you to be able to apply it and for it to change your life. There's no need of reading a book or listening to a podcast or any of that if it doesn't do something for you. So I want to make sure it does something for you. So, Rebel, I don't want to. Do we have any questions, or is anything that you think I need to talk about? Because uh, the reason why I have this scrolling underneath here is that I'm creating, and I've already started creating, is this school group. That's where I learned a lot of my informations from these different uh, courses on this platform, and I was like, this is just what I need. There, I'm going to have information for you. I told you already the books are there, but there's a community there where I usually at least 3 or 4 times a week I post something. It's called the Mind of Dr. Taylor, and I just try and take you on this journey that I've been on for the last 6, 7, 8 months of rediscovering who I am and who I could be. Even at 64, I know a lot of people, well, I'm too old. You're never too old to teach an old dog new tricks. Okay. I'm so excited about my future at 64. You just wouldn't believe how excited I am. All right. So at that on that school group, right now it's just mostly a community, but we are building a course, and we're going to have different levels according to where you are. We can start off with the body, and then we're going to go toward the mind, and then we're going to go to the spirit. And the reason why I go there, because people are usually more familiar with that track. Even though it's better to start from the spirit, we're just going to have to work backwards. Now, some people may want to start there, but we want to start with the foundation, and then we're going to move from there. So,
That sounds wonderful.
yeah. So, do we
Absolutely.
have any questions at all?
We do. First one came
Okay.
from Jennifer.
Hmm.
How long does it take to do the saliva test, and how long does it take to see change and results?
Okay. So, what you would do is over the course of the day, you would collect 4 samples, usually about 2 or 3 cc's, like a teaspoonful, really. And over the course of the I'm sorry, 4 samples over the course of the day. And next episode, I'm going to really explain this. And so you will do that. You'll send it into the lab. It takes 2 weeks for the results to come back, and then we will see. And I'll show you some examples next week. It's very simple. You can see your estrogen level and your progesterone level. Those are the two big ones for women. All right. Progesterone should be 200 times whatever your estrogen is. So if your estrogen is 1, your progesterone should be 200. And we just look at that ratio. If you don't have enough progesterone, we give you progesterone to create that ratio. And I'm going to tell you, it's according to how bad your symptoms are, but people begin to feel different within a week just by bringing those two hormones back into balance. If you're a woman, all right. In a man, a lot of times it may be testosterone, but a lot of times it's a cortisol issue, and in women also. So we'll also see your cortisol curve, and I'll show you some examples of that next week. But it's really quick and it's really simple. It's not that expensive. If most insurances aren't going to pay for it, but some will. But to just look at the female hormones is $135. If you look at female hormones and cortisol, or men hormones and cortisol, it's 275. But I'm going to tell you, once we have that information, then you can stop with the trial and error. You've tried this, you tried that, we'll know exactly what's going on. We will replace the hormones with bioidentical hormones. So that means they're just like what your body is used to dealing with. So there's very minimal to no side effects as long as you maintain that ratio. All right. And we'll talk about that in depth. That's what the next episode is going to be about. All right. Have
Okay.
another question?
Yes. The next question is from Taylor. Can we get all
Mm.
in balance at the same time to do this blueprint?
We say the same time. So here's how the blueprint works. So first we figure out we're going to get your hormones in balance. That means estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and cortisol. Right. Then there's another level where we look at these different systems. It's a test called True Diagnostics. You take some blood, really it's just a finger stick, and we look at epigenetics. Epigenetics means what genes are turned on in you. And what we can do is we can see what system is aging you prematurely. Is it that your gut is out of balance? Is that what's aging you? Is it that your mental capacity is out of balance? Is that what's aging you? And now we know which one is accelerating your aging. And now we can focus on that particular system to get that back in balance. All right. So I believe in the, I believe that you have to measure things in order to manage them. So we can measure what your gut environment is. We can measure what your stress is. We can measure heart rate variability. We can do heart math. We want to measure things, then we can manage it. Then we can remeasure it and make sure you're in balance. The only way to know you're in balance is that you have to measure something. You have to put something on one side of the scale and another on the other side of the scale and see if it balances. If you don't measure